Hey Deadheads, welcome to
Dead Authors Club, where we resurrect the classics
and bury the complexity.
We're your club presidents,
Andrew Jackson
and Lyndon B. Johnson.
Get started. Oh no.
We're back.
We're back.
It's been a while and it's all my fault.
It is. Well, it's your happiness's fault, and that's okay.
I got married.
She got married. She's a wifey now, and so we're back.
We are better than ever with Pride and Prejudice. Prejudice.
Prejudice and Prejudice.
Prejudice, prejudice.
To a great start.
It's been a while. Okay. We're gonna break down Pride and Prejudice from Jane Austen. We got a little puzzle we're gonna do along the way. That is a Pride and Prejudice puzzle. We're just gonna talk. All right. Breaking down Pride and Prejudice. So the story follows 5 sisters and one overbearing, think helicopter mother, but the year 1811, 1812-ish, and a father who sits back and just lets the women.
He does.
So you have Jane, who's the oldest, Elizabeth, who's the second oldest. Then you have Lydia and what's the other sister's name?
Kitty.
Lydia, Kitty, and then Mary. Who Mary, honestly, I didn't even know existed until the final chapter when they talk about her.
Finally.
Which is my blame the author.
Oh.
We'll get there.
So
it opens up with the mother just being so excited that they're getting a new neighbor. His name is Mr. Bingley. He's very rich, and you can just tell by the house that he's inheriting. And the mother's like, everyone's going to want him, but Jane's going to get him. Jane's got to get him. Doesn't matter what anyone's opinion is. Doesn't matter if my husband agrees, if Jane even likes him, like, she's going to get him. I don't care.
Yep.
So that's where we're kind of introduced to problematic mother. You can say more about that because you hated her, and I thought she was hilarious.
Oh, I think you thought that her relationship with the dad was hilarious.
I
think her as a character is absolutely insufferable, which is
Okay.
how she was written to be.
Yeah.
But I think we did mention this in the Buccaneers episode. That's how moms were written.
Kind of were, yeah.
And that's how they were. I mean, because
they were
their goal,
survivalists.
yes, exactly. Their goal was to get their daughters married off
No matter what.
To a good fortune, secure their, livelihood. And so, it can be argued that she was just a concerned mother.
Well, here's where she becomes problematic. So Jane is a very soft beauty. She is empathetic. She can always put herself in other people's shoes. She gives people the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is just very soft female character, which we don't really see enough of in today's literature. I loved her.
Yeah.
She's very forgiving, very, and then you have Lizzie, or Elizabeth. She's our main character. She is tomboy. She is a reader. She wants to banter and bicker with people. She is not at all afraid to open her mouth. So they're very, very close in their sisterhood. They're best friends. And then, so Mr. Bingley comes, and mother starts meddling. There's this ball, and they all go. And that is where Lizzie, or Elizabeth, meets the famous Mr. Darcy for the first time. And he shows up. He's introduced.
When they're introduced to Mr. Darcy, he is arrogant.
Hateable.
He is not agreeable at all. He doesn't want to dance.
He doesn't entertain people, I guess. He doesn't care to entertain them. He's not a performer, okay? He hates it.
He's not a performative male at all.
Yeah, he's the opposite. He makes it known he doesn't want to be there. No one in the book likes him except for Mr. Bingley. Mr. Bingley talks very highly of him, but everyone else that's met him is like, this guy, get me so far out of the room with this man, because he is so rude and he just hates everything. So he meets Lizzie.
He hates everything about
society,
this culture, this society. He doesn't like that when he walks into a room, people know that he's wealthy and all the moms are going to flock to him with their daughters.
Right.
He doesn't like feeling like he's being sold off to the highest bidder.
Yes.
He doesn't like,
I guess.
He doesn't like
that, but
he doesn't like flattery. He doesn't like, but he's arrogant.
Yeah, I was going to say,
also
even
arrogant.
that is like kind of forgiving for him, because he truly just like, to me, it felt like he hated wasting his time with underclass. He's like, why am I in this room with these people?
Yeah.
And that's honestly true of him in the beginning. I think his character growth is that he comes a very long way from that. So he starts off like, why are we even fraternizing? That's right. He doesn't like to fraternize.
That's
right?
not what I was thinking. But yes, that's also
why
true.
are we fraternizing with the lower class?
Yeah.
Why am I here? This is so performative. So he meets Elizabeth. She asks him to dance. He says like he hates dancing. And then she's like off to the side away from the ball because she's overstimulated and hanging out with her friend. And Mr. Darcy comes up. So he's talking with somebody off to the side. They ask about like the women in the room. He says like no one here is agreeable or handsome except for Jane. And then they say, well, you were talking with Elizabeth. Like, what did you think of her? And he insults her. He's like, she's barely even pretty. And
Not agreeable either.
Lizzie hears that. And she just holds tight to that for the rest of the book and allows that to steer her judgment.
But so she calls him out. They have their little moment. They don't like each other. It's enemies at first sight.
Enemies at first sight.
After that happens, Jane starts spending more time with Mr. Bingley. And so she goes to his estate, whatever, and she gets caught in the rain. Mom makes her ride a horse in the rain instead of calling for a carriage because she knows that as soon as she gets to the estate, it's gonna rain on the way there. She knows that as soon as she gets to the estate, Jane is gonna be soaking wet, and so they're gonna be like, Mr. Bingley's gonna be rushing to take care of her and make sure that she's comfortable, and it's gonna establish some like intimate bonding. So that does happen, except Jane gets really ill from it.
Really ill.
So she has to. Yeah. So she has to.
Calculated.
Yeah, for sure. So she has to stay at this estate until she gets better. So eventually, Elizabeth goes to visit her. She's trudging through the mud to go visit her sister. She arrives to the estate, and the sisters of Mr. Bingley are like, look at this girl. Did you walk all the way here? You're filthy. You need to change, whatever. And of course, Mr. Darcy is also there. So Elizabeth decides that she's going to stay with Jane until she gets better. She takes care of her. This kind of, I think, is where Mr. Darcy starts to see her softer side, see how much she cares for her sister, and starts to have a little bit of a fondness toward her. And then at the same time, Jane and Mr. Bingley are also growing closer together.
Yeah.
And then there's Mr. Bingley also has a sister, Caroline Bingley.
But she's very like, oh, tell your sister how much I love her. And Darcy's just like, yeah, I already did in the last letter. And then she's like, Elizabeth, take a walk with me around the room. And they walk around. And I think this is where Darcy also gets a sense of Elizabeth's intelligent and bantery side, that she can hold her own, because he starts by insulting them for walking around the room. And he's like, well, there's only two reasons you would do that. One, because you don't think you look pretty enough sitting on a couch. You think that your posture looks better walking around a room. And two, because you have to gossip and you don't want anyone to hear it. And then Elizabeth snaps back at him about women and something. And he's like very intrigued by anything she has to say. Anytime she speaks, he listens and he wants to hear her speak more.
So the couples are getting closer. They're getting to know each other a little bit more. Elizabeth still hates Mr. Darcy, but he's developing a fondness for her. And then Jane and Mr. Bingley are also really, really digging each other.
They're like in love, and everyone in the room can see it with them.
Yeah, and apparently Mr. Darcy.
He could see it from Mr. Bingley. He couldn't see it from Jane.
Yeah. So
which we find out later. We'll get there.
Somewhere in the mix of all of this,
we have to talk about Mr. Collins.
Mr. Collins comes into the picture. Mr. Collins is the next of kin for the Bennett family. Elizabeth's last name is Bennett. Mr. Collins comes in. He's going to take over the estate when Mr. Bennett passes away.
Yeah.
So nobody's really happy about him coming because they just see him as the guy who's going to basically usurp the throne here in the Bennett household. He's really weird. He's an uncomfortable person to be around. Nobody really likes him. But he suggests to Miss Bennett that he might make the transition for him, taking over the estate a little bit easier by marrying one of her daughters, his cousins.
Which Mrs. Bennett, the problematic marriage off all my daughters woman that she is all for that.
She's for it.
She's like, well, Jane's taken by Mr. Bingley, basically. So have you considered Elizabeth? So she's already ready to give her daughter to this man, her daughter who doesn't want to be married, her daughter who says, only the deepest level persuade me to marriage, and that's why I'm going to end up an old maid. It's like she doesn't want to be married, let alone to somebody like him who is just not likable at all, and she's ready to sell her off for marriage because that's her job as a mother. So Mr. Collins comes, he spends time with the family, he's reading sermons around the fire, everyone's bored, he comments on potatoes, everyone hates him. I don't want to give too much away if you're going to read this.
I love it.
And then he decides to propose to Elizabeth. And she's like, no. And he's like, I heard about women like you. You like to play hard to get. I'm going to ask you again, will you marry me? And she's like, no. And he's like, you're just flattering me more. This is the way women flirt. And she's like, I promise you, this is not me trying to flirt. I'm laying the law down. I do not want to marry you. And then she runs away from him dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
And then her
So
mother is like, if you
Mr.
don't marry Mr. Collins, my relationship with you is done, because how dare you throw your whole future and the whole future of this family out the window. You're being so selfish.
Yep.
Mrs. Bennet will not speak to Elizabeth, her daughter, right now, because she turned down this proposal. So she goes to her husband, Mr. Bennet, and says, you need to go talk Lizzie into marrying Mr. Collins. He's like, why?
And she said, well, I've threatened her and said that I'm never going to speak to her again if she doesn't marry him. So
And
he
I
said,
won't, like,
he
I
said,
won't get
okay, I'll go talk to her. And he said, Elizabeth, it looks like you're in a bit of a sticky situation because your mother says she's not going to speak to you again if you don't marry Mr. Collins. On the other hand, I will never speak to you again if you do marry him.
because she's his favorite and he knows what's up.
Yeah,
So,
the man that he is.
she hugs her dad. It's great. Mrs. Bennet locks herself in a room and doesn't speak to
And
the
she
family
acts like she's
for
super
weeks.
sick and the daughters have to take care of her.
Yeah, but she doesn't want to see Lizzie.
So after Mr. Collins comes into the picture and the proposal happens, Elizabeth does eventually meet someone. His name is Mr. Wickham.
We have to talk about Mr. Wickham.
His name is Mr. Wickham. And he's this handsome, charismatic army man. And she's like, yes.
Officer. He's an officer.
He's an officer.
Officer Wickham.
She is so into him. And he's
She
so
is.
into her.
Yeah.
They're like vibing big time. So every event he's invited, he's sitting right next to her, talking her up. Mr. Darcy is watching them always, like
scowling.
Gross. I don't like this man. Blah blah blah. So they know each other, and you kind of know that they know each other,
But no one knows
but nobody knows why, and nobody knows why they hate each other.
Yes.
So after that happens,
but Elizabeth's clocking it. She's like,
yeah, she's like, something's going on here.
They know each other. This is what's going on between you guys.
Yeah.
Wickham won't even speak of it.
Yeah, Wickham's like, I don't want to talk about it. It was just Mr. Darcy is a really bad person. And then eventually he does open up a little bit and says that his father worked for Mr. Darcy's father.
Yep.
And so he was like always at the estate, and Mr. Darcy's father regarded him as like a second son. So Mr. Darcy's father put Wickham in his will as well, on the condition that he joins the clergy, because he's always wanted to be a clergyman. He's always kind of been like interested in that. So he gets this sum of money when he enters the clergy. Well, Mr. Darcy's father passes away, unfortunately. Mr. Wickham goes to Mr. Darcy and is like, hey, I want my inheritance. And Mr. Darcy's like, you're supposed to join the clergy. So he tells Elizabeth that Mr. Darcy, withheld the money from him and would not pay him a cent. And Elizabeth's like, how is this even possible? That's not legal. You're in the will. You are owed that money. Like, how can you just change the will like that?
Right.
So Mr. Wickham is like, well, he's just a really bad guy. And Elizabeth believes him. And so they go about their little
so now she has even more reason to hate him. Now he's not just unlikable, he is dishonest.
And yeah.
So she doesn't really tell anyone that story, I don't think. She keeps it to herself. But then Mr. Wickham stops. He basically ghosts her.
So then Mr. Bingley gets called away to London for business. He's not coming back for like 6 months. And Jane is devastated. She's like, why didn't I get a proposal from him while he was here? I just don't understand. I really thought we were hitting it off. And so she writes Mr. Bingley's sister, Caroline, and Caroline corresponds with her and says, hey, it's so good to hear from you. Hope you're well. Yes, my brother's here. He's not coming back. We're hoping that he'll marry Georgina, right? Mm-hmm. Georgina Darcy. And so Jane is devastated. And is like, ew, I hate Caroline Bingley. Yeah. She definitely orchestrated all this. This is all her fault that my sister isn't having the happily ever after that she deserves with the man that obviously was so interested in her. It has to be Caroline's doing. So Jane's devastated. She goes to stay with family in London, and Mr. Bingley doesn't call for her. So she's now even more devastated, because what the heck do you mean? We're in the same city now, and there's no barriers to us seeing each other, and you're not calling on me?
Right.
Yeah, so she finds out that her best friend is getting married to Mr. Collins, her cousin. So
that's just like a thing.
She's
That's
like, it's just
important
a
to know for the
convenient
plot.
marriage
Yeah.
and whatever, and she seems happy. Mr. Collins kept talking about like
Lady Catherine wants to be married. Lady Catherine needs me to be married.
and she's very wealthy and very important, and she's like this.
That's
big
right. She
mogul.
goes to visit
She goes,
Collins,
yeah. So she goes to visit her best friend and Mr. Collins, and then they go to visit Lady Catherine's and have
who is
dinner.
Mr. Darcy's aunt.
And we find out that that's Mr. Darcy's aunt. She goes to visit the house. They end up having dinner there. Mr. Darcy is there. So they have dinner with Mr. Darcy, and his cousin is also there. And his cousin is sitting next to Lizzie,
yes.
and they're having this discourse. And
He's a great guy.
they're having fun. They're
How do they even
joking.
get along?
Yeah, it's great. He's great. And so he tells her, "Oh, my cousin just saved his best friend, Mr. Bingley, from this truly just treacherous
Tragic.
marriage situation that would have been terrible for him. Like the family had such low status, they didn't have a lot of money. He totally saved him from marrying this woman." And so
And Elizabeth clocks that that's about
Yeah.
Jane and Bingley.
yeah,
So
she
she's
was like, it's his friend Bingley. He saved him from this marriage. And Lizzie was like, oh my God.
he is the worst.
He's the worst person. He ruined my sister's chance at happiness.
So
I
this
hate
is
him.
like
I hate
three. This is like, okay, strike one, you insulted me and the way I look and you don't dance. Strike two, you meddled with Mr. Wickham and his money even though it was owed to him. Strike three, you ruined my sister's chance at happiness.
So Mr. Darcy then pulls Lizzie aside and says, we should get married. This is your best opportunity for a match. I'm very wealthy. Your family doesn't have a lot of money. He's like, I'm going to look past your family's inappropriate behaviors, your mother's inappropriate behaviors,
Her desperate
your
need,
sisters,
like,
and your bad family
real quick
status.
for context, that's because when they go to the balls, they all act like they
The younger
are
sisters,
too poor to be there and
yeah.
so excited to be there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's like fraternize with the rich and let's act like this and let's drink, and like mom is always gossiping about like who's got money, and so all that's inappropriate to the wealthy. So that's what Mr. Darcy, he's like harshly judging her family.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So all of that happens, and then
Lizzie's
he's like,
insulted.
so this is like probably the best offer you're gonna get. Will you marry me? And Lizzie's like, you're a disgusting person. I actually hate you.
Yep.
And how dare you speak about my family that way? And also, while we're at it, how dare you not give Wickham the inheritance that he was owed? And how dare you prevent my sister from having happiness and marrying the man that she's in love with? And then she leaves him. The next morning, so she's on her walk.
That's important.
She's on her walk in the morning.
She
Mr.
takes
Darcy
long walks. Normally he joins her and they start talking. This is why he proposed too, because they were getting along on those walks. And she's like, okay, he's kind of funny. Okay, he's kind of this. Then she finds out about the sister thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he proposes. Literally, it was like the worst timing in the world. And then she keeps going on these walks and they're not speaking anymore. And she takes different paths now. But she keeps catching him on the same path they took. She knows he's trying to find her. He's literally following her.
Yeah.
Trying to get a hold of her. And then he finally does one morning. And all he does is like hand her a letter and leaves. He doesn't say a word to her. And it's very awkward.
So she reads this letter, and it's like a 2-part explanation.
It's like a 5-page letter in the book.
He lets her know that he's sorry for offending her about the marriage proposal and what he said about her family. And it's because of the inappropriate behavior that he was talking about in regards to Lizzie's mom and in regards to Lizzie's sisters that he advised Mr. Bingley to not get married to Jane. And also because he thought that she didn't return his affection. He knew that his boy loved this girl, was so into her, but because Jane is very demure, she wasn't very showy with her affection.
Right.
So he didn't perceive that she felt the same way, and he wanted his boy to be like super happy, super in love. That's all he wanted for Mr. Bingley. So he was like, hey, dude, I don't think she's really feeling the same way. Like, I think maybe it's just like, maybe it's about the money because her family is not very wealthy. And also, like, her mom is kind of extra and her sisters are kind of extra, and that's just not a good look. You don't want to be involved with a family like that.
Right.
So convinces his boy to move on to London and just, whatever. But I'm not going to say that. I was going to say he never forgot about Jane, but whatever.
Yeah,
okay, so in the second part of the letter, then Mr. Darcy explains, as for Wickham, let me tell you what really happened. My dad put him in his will, And he was supposed to join the clergy. It was under that condition that he would get this money. He decided he didn't want to be a clergyman, and he asked for the money anyway. Mr. Darcy explains that he actually gave Wickham the money, and he spent it all. He squandered all of his fortune.
He gambles it away.
He gambles it away, and then he goes to Darcy and asks for more, and is like, I'm broke. I need money. Give me some extra money. And Darcy's like, absolutely not. You squandered your fortune. That's on you. My dad only promised you this much. I gave you what you were owed. You're not getting a dime from me.
Mhm.
And so Wickham tries to secretly elope with Georgina, Darcy's little sister, to secure her fortune.
Her dowry, yeah.
Her dowry. And Darcy finds out about it and puts a stop to it. He didn't see Wickham for years after that. And the first time he saw him again was with Lizzie.
Elizabeth.
So that's why he hates him. And he's a very dishonest man. And he left his sister heartbroken and possibly could have ruined her reputation by having her betrothed to be married to him and then not going through with it.
Yeah.
So he put her reputation and her family at risk as well. Yeah. So now Lizzie's like, all right, I don't know. She stews over it, and then she finally decides that she believes him.
Yeah, so there's 4 pages of her just reading it and rereading it and rereading it. Every time something new pops out of her, her feelings start to change. She's shocked. She's grieving what she thought she knew, basically. She's very moved by this letter.
Mm-hmm. Lizzie goes away, and she's going to stay with family. And they go to visit Mr. Darcy's estate. Yeah, because it's known for its beautiful gardens, and so her aunt wants to take a tour.
Right.
So she goes and she takes this tour.
That was so strange. I was like, who just goes and visits someone's house when they're not there? But I guess because it's like famous. Yeah, it's like beautiful, famous for its gardens. Like a tourist attraction. Yeah. So then Mr. Darcy comes up to Lizzie and he introduces her to his sister, and she's a lovely young woman, and Lizzie's like, I don't even know how these two are related. And everyone loves Mr. Darcy. It's in his inner circle. So she's real confused.
She's just like, what do you mean
he's a good guy?
I think
that's when Lizzie plays the piano.
Yes,
that's what I was thinking
they
about.
reconnect and
they laugh over the piano.
Yeah, they're fine. Like everything's fine. And then
I love that scene actually. It's one of my favorite scenes because you can tell they missed each other and you can tell they're vibing now. It's just one of those. This is a new schoolgirl crush.
Yeah,
like. I remember that scene so much, reading that scene. It's beautiful. It just like gave me all the warm feelings of, oh, this is happening.
Yeah.
Like they were a little flirty, not even flirty. He just found her funny and he would just silence the whole room whenever she was speaking. I just loved it because the one thing about Mr. Darcy is, one thing I love that Jane Austen did is we're not in his head a lot. And he doesn't express his feelings to anyone. He just acts.
And I believe that this book is written in third party omniscient.
It's third person omniscient. So you get in everyone's heads. And you do get in Mr. Darcy's head, but never about his feelings with Elizabeth, really. It's very, very rare. And it's like 1 or 2 sentences. And it's crumbs that you're like feasting on because you know he loves her. But what I loved about this story was like, you really don't know until he acts. Until his actions show it, you don't know what he's saying.
And what's important here is that everybody, before Darcy came to this dinner, everybody's talking about how much they love Darcy.
Yes, he's a great guy. He's so,
and Lizzie's
so giving.
I just don't see it. Like, I'm just confused. Well, this has been a while between their visits
and the letter.
And so now Darcy took everything that Elizabeth said when she rejected his proposal to heart. Yeah. And he used that to redevelop his character. So he comes back and he's like, you know what? She was right. I am arrogant. You know what? She was right. I am full of myself and I am disagreeable. Like, I want to be I want to be someone that's worthy of someone like Elizabeth Bennet.
Yes.
And he does.
But he never says that. He never thinks it.
Yeah.
He
you just see it in his actions and you see this character development. So
that's
now
why we're probably going to cut the part out earlier where I talked about it, but that's why that one scene is so important. There's a scene at a ball where he asks her, they're talking about poetry. And she's like, what poetry? Like whatever. Like, that's not the highest form of flattery. And he said, what is? And she's like, dancing. And she only says it because he hates dancing. Mm-hmm. And he refused to dance with her. Yeah. She's like, well, if you want to fire someone, dance with them. He goes up to her at the ball and asks her to dance when he never asks anyone to dance. And it's a very awkward moment. They don't know what to talk about with each other. She's trying to joke. She actually makes him laugh. But then that's it. But then he wants to dance with 3 more times. I'm pretty sure she's like, no, I'm okay. That was the worst experience of my life. But it's important because this is every time she comes at him with something, he returns it with an action. And it's just like,
Yeah.
that is so good. Like, I
Yeah.
love it.
So
Anyway,
after this, we get a
now,
letter from Lizzie's family saying
Yes.
that Lydia, her younger sister, the really extra annoying one, has run away
I love
with.
Lydia.
I hate Lydia.
I love Lydia for being just like the girl she is. She's just so.
No, I hate
I'm
her.
just gonna do it. I don't know. I
She-
love her.
yeah,
she's
I hate her.
annoying, but like I
So,
like her.
Lydia runs away with Wickham.
With Mr. Wickham.
So Lizzie is beside herself. She's like, "Oh my gosh, he's doing it again."
Not only that, but
With
the
my
culture
sister.
back then, to find out that they ran off, if they don't come back married, there's only one assumption, and Lydia is ruined for life, and so is their entire family.
Yeah.
Like, she has disgraced and scandalized the entire Bennett family.
And so all of her sisters are going to be unmarriable after this.
Yes.
Nobody's going to want to marry into the family because of this huge scandal.
Yes.
And they don't have enough money to pay off the debts that Darcy said that Wickham has. So they're like, why is he doing this? Like, what's in it for him? Well, Lizzie is like, in a moment of distress, tells Mr. Darcy what's going on. He's pissed. He's livid. And so that's it. That's all we get. She goes and tells her uncle. Her uncle goes and,
he's like, I'm
to
gonna
meet
go
Mr. Bennett, her dad, and they go to try to find them together.
They search all over London. They can't find him. Dad comes home with no word. Can't find them anywhere. Uncle stays and says, I'm going to find them. I promise you I'm going to bring them home correctly.
And so the uncle eventually writes them a letter and says, hey, I found them. Hey, they're getting married.
Yep.
That's it. That's all we get from that.
Dad, this is important. Dad says that means that the uncle had to pay a huge sum
to pay off Wickham's debts in order for him to agree to this marriage.
There's like a promise yearly, like dowry or something. And he's like, we are going to owe that my brother, or I think it's Mrs. Bennett's brother. I think it's his brother-in-law, but we're going to owe him the rest of our lives for what he just did. We don't even know how much it was. And everyone's like, oh shoot, yeah, like he must have paid a lot. And they're like, how is he able to do that? He doesn't have the salary to do that. And he has his own kids that he has to save up for to give a dowry to marry them off. So everyone's kind of like, whatever, like it happened, that's great. But also, like, how did this happen, and what are we gonna have to owe this family for saving our skin? Mm-hmm. So anyway, go ahead.
So
that's like
Lizzie writes her aunt for more info, and her aunt tells her because no. So Lydia comes home married to Mr. Wickham.
She's annoying.
They have this dinner. She's talking about her wedding and how amazing it is. How
her father refuses to support the marriage, to buy her the marriage clothes, to help her with the estate. He's like, I don't want Wickham in my house. And also, Kitty, you're never going out in society. You're never going to another ball.
Yeah.
You're never going, because he is so, like,
livid.
Backstabbed.
Yeah.
Like, he feels betrayed. And he's like, there's no way I'm supporting
this. And not for nothing, Lizzie did warn her dad that these girls needed some correcting. They needed to be put in line or they were going to get themselves into trouble. And the dad was like, they'll be fine.
Yeah, he's
so now he's like, crap, I should have listened to Lizzie. And I think he at one point does tell her that, I'm sorry, like I should have listened to you.
Yeah.
And so Lydia's talking about their wedding. She's talking about how amazing it is, their trip together. They're going to live here and they're going to have this, whatever. And then she's like, because she's like, talking about all the details of her wedding, sparing nothing, of course, she lets it slip that Mr. Darcy was there at the wedding. And Lizzie's like, Mr. Darcy was at your wedding? What do you mean?
Why would he be there? Yeah.
Why would he be there? So she writes to her aunt and is like, Lydia told me that Mr. Darcy was at the wedding. Like, what is, like, why?
And Lydia goes, wait, that was a secret. I'm not supposed to tell anybody that.
Yeah.
And so Jane, being Jane, who's like just always the perfect, picturesque, demure woman, she's like, well, then we won't ask any further. And Lizzie's like,
nah, you're
that. I'm going to go find out why Mr. Darcy was at this wedding.
She asks her aunt, and her aunt's like, oh, yeah, Darcy was there. It is supposed to be a secret. So you can't say anything. But he found Lydia and Wickham. And he paid off all of Wickham's debts, and he paid Lydia's dowry.
Yearly salary.
So he's the hero. Like, he's the reason why this happened, and your family's reputation was saved forever. So Lizzie, this is the moment where she knows she is absolutely in love with him, but she hasn't seen him in so long. So she's like, what do I do? Then Catherine de Bourgh comes to town. She's Lady like, Catherine. I heard a rumor that my nephew, who is supposed to marry my daughter, asked for your hand in marriage. And so I don't want your family associated with our family. You're not good enough for him. You have to promise me right here, right now, that you are going to refuse his proposal. And Lizzie was like, okay, first of all, that didn't happen. But even if it did, I have the right to say yes to who I want to say yes to. So suck it.
She says it like, you guys, you have to read.
You have to
if
read
you
that,
read
at least that
nothing
part.
else, read this response. It was so good.
Yeah.
And she's like starts by playing games with her. And this is why Lizzie is Lizzie. Like, I love her. And this is not the only time. When we get into her character, I've got quotes, man. Like, she calls everything out, but she's like, well, if you're so sure he's marrying your daughter, then why are you here asking me if he proposed to me? And Lady Catherine's like, just tell me once and for all. Like, did he? And she's like, no. And she's like, do you promise that you will refuse it if he does? And she's like,
no.
Your nephew has the right to ask whoever he wants to marry, and I have the right to say yes or no to whoever I want. So
yeah.
No,
so
won't.
She sends her on her way. All
I love
pissed
it,
off,
dude. I love it.
all bothered. And so after that, we get word that Bingley has come back to town. I'm guessing that Mr. Darcy cleared all the air and said, you know what, I was wrong. Jane is actually in love with you. So Mr. Bingley comes to town. Him and Jane see each other again, and they're like, they're hitting it off like nothing ever happened, like no time passed.
They're going back on the walks.
And he ends up proposing to her.
Yeah.
And then after that, obviously, because they're best friends, Mr. Darcy comes to town with Mr. Bingley. So Lizzie sees him. She's all nervous. She's like, oh my gosh. And Mr. Darcy eventually pulls her aside and says,
You're going like a walk.
I got word from my aunt that she came here and confronted you about a rumored proposal that I made to you. And all I had to hear was that you didn't promise her that you would say no. Like, the only information that I needed from that conversation was that you weren't going to say no. And so now I want to propose to you the right way. This is not a marriage of convenience. I'm not saying that you'd be better off for marrying me. I'm not saying that I'm just doing this because I find you agreeable. I am in love with you, Elizabeth Bennet, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Most ardently.
Yeah. So he tells her that, and she tells him that she is also in love with him. So she goes to talk to her father.
This is the best part, and this is what I meant by every character.
He goes to talk to her father. He has a meeting with her father and asks for her hand in marriage. And he calls Elizabeth in and said, what is going on?
Yes.
Because I thought you hated this
Not
man.
only that, everybody hates him. Like, even Elizabeth's mom was like, he's a very rich man. And I still am telling you, don't marry him because he's despicable. Yeah. So she's like defending him. She's like, my man, my man, my man.
She's like, I was so wrong about him, father. And and he was like, well, I need you to look me in the eyes and tell me that you're in love with this man. And I will, that's the only way I'm giving my favorite daughter away.
He said to her, I already told him yes. Or like, he already has my blessing. But we don't find that out till she says, like, I love him. He goes, well, he already has my blessing. But I want to give it, I will extend the blessing to you as well. If you can tell me that you love him, like whatever.
Yeah, because he loves Elizabeth so much, he wants to make sure she's not marrying for her family. One good enough. She's marrying for herself. So sweet, and so they have this beautiful father-daughter moment, and she tells him that she loves him.
And then she goes and has that same moment with her mom-ish.
Sort of.
Her mom is like, oh, him? And which I think is so funny because the whole time her mom's like,
well, she don't really like Elizabeth anyway. So she's like, after that, she's like, oh my gosh, my daughter is actually, all my daughters are getting married. Like, how could I ever be so lucky? This is amazing.
Right. Once she finds out the amount of money that's involved. Yeah.
I believe that is.
Well, okay.
Where we leave
that's
off.
Basically the end. There is the last chapter of the book reads like an epilogue where it's just like, this happened with this family, and then this happened with this family, and this happened with Kitty, and this is happening. That's when you find out about Mary, who's never mentioned. And I'm like, oh, that's why there's a whole TV show called The Other Bennet Sister. Yeah, that's where they got it from. It's Mary, like,
who was not mentioned.
Who's not mentioned at all in any of these endeavors. So like, then there's that, and then that's like the end of the story. But they end up getting married. The end.
And living happily ever after. And so that is Pride and Prejudice.
That's the plot. That's the recap.
In the next episode, we will do character analysis. We will talk about the themes of the book. And we will talk about...
We're going to dive into each character because I'm so excited to dive into these characters.
And we'll talk about the movie, too.
Yeah, we'll talk about the movie.
I read the book first and then watched the movie. She watched the movie first.
I grew up watching this movie my whole life. I have the whole thing memorized. I was very pleased. We'll talk about it in the next episode. But I was very pleased to find that I could also quote the book because of the movie. So... it's very good. We got good things to say. We got good things to get into. We're going to talk about all the tropes. We're going to, if you got to do a character analysis, if you got to write a paper, that's what the next episode is for you.
So this was the summary, and the next episode we'll do all the other fun stuff, and hopefully successfully finished this puzzle. I didn't realize it was
So
500 pieces that
I
are double-sided.
I can't talk in puzzle. You'll see me when you watch back.
This
I'm just
is what
going
I
like
have
this. When you watch
This
back,
is what I
I'll be
have done.
talking and I'll be going like this. And then just putting 2 pieces down. So,
And we will see you in the next episode.
see you guys.